Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel. So today, I want to tell you a little bit about this high-octane Bumblebee that we recently got into the store. Now, I kind of disregard some of these like late movie lines before Studio Series came around because it seemed to be where they were cheaping out or trying to cram gimmicks in, one or the other. However, this is actually not a bad toy. In messing with it, it's not a bad figure. And it is something that I tended to like, which is when they try to do a Bumblebee that isn't predominantly yellow. And to be fair, there's a lot of these inverse color bees where they keep the helmet yellow, so he still looks like him. But a lot of his black parts become yellow parts become black, yellow stripes, black stripes become yellow. You know how it goes. It's an inverse color scheme. It's usually for a stealth mode or whatever. But it did get me to thinking, how many times have I seen Bumblebee without his yellow coloring? Or at the very least, when have I seen him when his color is not primarily yellow? Now, I'm not going to throw in a lot of those like Stealth Force or whatever, the actual like addendum to his name they did for that release, because frankly there's a ton of black with yellow Bumblebees. Not interested in those. We're interested in things like this Lucky Draw, which is the same high octane figure you just saw, except entirely in chrome silver. This is more interesting to me. The times when they will take their iconic character who is defined by his yellow color scheme and actually have the guts to not make him yellow. Case in point, during Dark of the Moon, we got a repaint of Cannon Bumblebee for the Daredevil Squad multi-pack, and here he is primarily silver. Yeah, he still has a lot of yellow to his robot mode, but yeah, it's hard to really call him a yellow Bumblebee when his entire vehicle mode is silver right down to his helmet. I think that was a key for this like specific thing that I'm going for. The helmet is kind of where his identity is, so I'm looking for Bumblebees with different helmets to kind of weigh between what's yellow and what is another color with yellow, okay? There's a few judgment calls in here for this. Now, if you want something that's a lot more cut and dry, we could go to the Nest figure that they did for Bumblebee. Not a trace of yellow on him whatsoever. Granted, this is probably the most boring idea they had for like an inset of Transformers. Let's just take a few random figures and we'll just do all of them in the same military silver gray. It's not great looking, unless you really do like that like cold military look, then yeah, no, this is spot on. But yeah, not a trace of yellow. And it's actually very, very rare when there's a Bumblebee with absolutely no yellow whatsoever. And this is a prime example of that. And Studio Series gave us another one. We don't like to talk about it, but it's true. The World War II Bumblebee is infamous because it ain't a great toy, but it is also a very rare Bumblebee who is a color other than yellow. It's the only one I could find that was actually green. So yeah, we can move on from that though. We don't need to linger on the Bumblebees we don't like. Now, like I said, I was trying to leave off a lot of the stealth Bumblebee repaints, the inverse Bumblebees, but I do throw a few in here just for the sake of inclusion. This is from Rise of the Beasts, actually. They took one of the old Legends figures, they repainted it like this, and packed it in with a DVD in Japan. I do this one specifically because it has the most ratio of black to yellow. So you're getting a Bumblebee that I literally cannot call a yellow Bumblebee, because it's literally just down to 2 stripes across his vehicle mode. So, on extremes like this, I guess we can count it, but really, movie toy-wise, that's basically it. Like, aside from just, like, black with yellow repaints and, Studio Series doing the occasional weird one, there really isn't a whole lot of representation there. I actually found G1 Bumblebee has a lot more variation when it came to toys that weren't yellow. Case in point, the most obvious one, there was the error run in G1 where he was molded in Cliff Jumper red by mistake. We think by mistake. Can't really confirm that. But yeah, the red bumblebees exist thanks to G1 mistakes. And if we start exploring the world, then we actually end up with a lot more bumblebees that are not the color you would expect. A lot of these come from South America, I think a few from Italy. Around those parts of the world, releases got weird because the licensees who were doing Transformers weren't strictly told that they need to stick to the official coloring. So they just started doing whatever. So you end up with things like this, where you get an all-white Bumblebee and an all-blue Bumblebee. Now, obviously, we would eventually get Bugbite and Glyph, who I want to say were inspired by these, but I genuinely can't remember offhand. Either way, these are fairly well-known variants of the original Bumblebee toy. And yeah, they're not the only ones. Here's Bumblebee in a paler yellow, but we're more interested in the silver one. A lot of silver Bumblebees. Now, if we want to continue this little train, we can. There's also an orange Bumblebee out there somewhere. Another one. And then, weirdest of them all, here's this peach. I don't know, peach pink Bumblebee. This one doesn't even have chrome on the wheels, but it was released by a company that was officially licensing Transformers. This is legitimate. This is real. Now, there is another direction we can go with this particular style of Bumblebee, and we will take both extremes. The top of the top extreme is the Masterpiece that was released as Bumble Red version. Keep in mind, we still do not know what is up with Masterpiece Cliff Jumper. Like, supposedly the one that we saw, like the one that went around forever, on social medias and some websites, was apparently a modified knockoff of MP 2.0. We have no official confirmation that a Masterpiece Cliff Jumper was ever in production. It's a complete mystery right now. But you have a red Bumblebee. I'm just saying. And then the inverse to this, as far as price point goes, is going all the way down to the original McDonald's toys, which had Bumblebee released not only in the red that he usually gets flopped to, but blue and red, green, blue, black and red, and then his original black with yellow repaint. If you never saw these as Happy Meal toys, I believe these were like a short-run test market thing. They did not go nationwide, probably because they're not that great, and I don't think they even transform. It's not what you want out of a Transformer Happy Meal toy at the time. So, if we want to continue on altered G1 style Bumblebees, well, there's a few places we can go for that. So, Takara released this Sonic Blue Bumblebee. This is based on the Titan's Return mold. This one was weird. Like out of nowhere, here's just an ice blue Bumblebee. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it looks cool. Like, I think it kind of looks cool. I like the look of it. There is something about the windows being darker than the blue on the body of the car that just kind of makes the whole thing pop better for me. It's a cool look. Like, and I'm not sure exactly even why they went this direction, but I don't mind it. I will say that. The funny thing is, it might not even be the only time they thought to do this, but that gets even more confusing. So this Bumblebee popped up on listings online as, I think some listed it as a prototype, and then others claimed it was a lucky draw. But all it seemed to be was a blue Classics Bumblebee. Now, we kind of went back and forth for a long time about exactly what this could be. So Hasbro made a statement about this one, I believe at a con somewhere, that it wasn't theirs. So it had to be something out of Takara, or it had to be a knockoff, but there really wasn't any, like, knockoffs of classic Bumblebee going around at the time. Or maybe this was a fan-made custom, but there's chrome on it, like a Henkei figure. So that's not likely to be something a fan made at home. And this debate continued for years. We just had this really weird blue Classics Bumblebee out of nowhere. Eventually, Takara did a trade show where this was one of the toys that they presented as part of their display. They had gold chrome instead of silver, but it was the same figure. Apparently, it was something that they were toying with the idea of and never actually released. Seems like with the chrome, it seems like it would have been part of the Henkei line. But I don't know, it was just a weird enigma for a long time. And even now, it's like super random and weird. Okay, so we continue this on. We're going to stick to the G1 style Bumblebees, or now G1 adjacent, let's say, because that brings us into things like the G.I. Joe Bumblebee, and we've talked my grievances with this toy for a long time now. I really think this toy could have come together a lot better if they had actually just taken the yellow out completely and didn't have to worry about that or work around it, or if they painted the vehicle mode yellow and didn't worry about the G.I. Joe accuracy. Either one would have made this a much smoother transition, but frankly, on Bumblebee, I don't think they would have had much they could have done in the first place. It's just those giant tires that don't have anywhere to go, nothing to do, and the overall shape of the vehicle does not allow a whole lot of mass to work with. I mean, it's novel, but it's kind of slapdash, and it didn't come out great. A lot of the G.I. Joe ones didn't come out great. It's a shame. It's like they fumbled what should have been the best crossover they ever did. Let's see. Let's go into like merchandising. Because there's a few G1 Bumblebees that kind of follow this trend as well. I mean, obviously the deployer is in there, or the decoy. Not the deployer, the decoy. All the decoys were either bright red or bright purple, depending on the faction symbol. And I don't mind this. It's a cheap little eraser figure. It's just a red Bumblebee because all the Autobots were red. The Cliffjumper was red too, and you could barely tell them apart. What's fun here is that Takara eventually released a figure collection version that was bigger, but basically the same. It's a big rubber figure. Much more clearly defined, I'll give it that. So yeah, those exist too. If we want to continue something similar, there are the SCF figures. So you recall the Japanese version of these. These actually had two ways that they could be released. They're all blind box, and you could get the figure as it looked on the left, or depending on what series it was released in, you could have an alternate version in the box that was either completely clear plastic or pewter plastic. Bumblebee's Wave happened to be clear plastic, so an all clear Bumblebee does exist. It's a weird one. Spike and Bumblebee look like ghosts waving at you. But hey, it is an oddball. It does exist. It's out there. As does this. No, you are not looking at a grayscale photo. This is a bottle cap figurine that was released. And this one, I think the entire line is like this. They're all in what was called retro grayscale. Even though Transformers are not old enough to have been on black and white television, they still at the time thought, let's do the figures in black and white so they look like they came from black and white television. I don't know why you want your franchise to look older than it already is. I mean, it's a weird choice, but it does exist. It does exist and does belong in this little review video that I'm going through, as does Creo's attempt to make an Energon figure. Now, one of the ideas that we'll be exploring later is like really interesting redeco ideas that Hasbro's only done one time. And some of them do relate to having like an Energon style figure like this, where it just kind of looks like him made out of Energon. And sure, you know what? Valid, I guess. Once again, we're back in the realm of blue Bumblebees. It just keeps happening. You know what else happens, and it's going to happen a little bit more? White Bumblebees. We saw one in the G1s. Now here is one that was intentionally released by Hasbro. This is the Polar Assault Bot Shots Bumblebee. And I'm going to be real here. It's hard to pass as a Bumblebee. It looks like a really weird, like, dead end that they tried to use a Bumblebee mold for. Or not dead end. Who am I thinking of? Oh, Breakdown. I'm thinking of Breakdown. Jeez. I'm tired. It's been a day. But no, again, it's a white Bumblebee, and honestly, not gonna lie, I think I like it better than the other white Bumblebees that we've gotten. Like, there's something about the orange eyes and the blue that kind of hits. Because it looks vaguely bug bite, doesn't it? Not quite, though. Not quite, though. To be silly, I threw in the Metal Earth one, which, you know, it's bare steel panels. Of course it's not going to be yellow. There is a yellow one, but they also did this one as well. Okay. One thing we know, I mentioned bug bite earlier, and that's the color scheme. You know, that is another color scheme for Bumblebee we could talk about. Now, I didn't throw bug bite in here because he's technically a different character. So Bumblebee in white, no. For that same reason, none of the Shatterglass gold bugs made the list. This would have been the closest one because there's some gold, but primarily he is a black figure with blue helmet. So he definitely does not scream yellow Bumblebee to me in any way, shape, or form. This one, Bo, is Goldbug. And I have to acknowledge him as Goldbug. That said, Shattered Glass Bumblebee, before he's reconverted into Goldbug, is typically in bug bite colors, and there are a few toys to represent that. For instance, the Blocky's Galaxy Defender Shattered Glass Bumblebee is a bit more bug bite inspired because he's gray instead of yellow. I mean, it looks like the black and white figure all over again, but it is a Bumblebee of a different color, which is all I'm really caring about this time. If you want something a little bit more jarring and a little bit more accurate to what we just built up, you have to go to Aldi for that, because they did produce a bug bite that was listed as Shattered Glass Bumblebee. And this one absolutely counts for the list, even though it is technically inspired by one of his evil duplicates, clones, / GoBot counterpart, whichever version of his mythos you would like to follow at this moment. Okay, so G1 based, that's all I've got for you. We're going to go into a little bit of weirder realms just to finish off this video in an interesting way. And that starts with the animated version. The activator came in a police patrol vehicle. Remember, in Transformers Animated, Bumblebee was actually technically a police officer's car. Hence the little dome on it, because it did have like a pursuit light on it. It's weird to see him in Prowl colors, isn't it? It doesn't quite suit him. It's one of those weird ones where, like, I wouldn't call it a yellow Bumblebee, even though his helmet is still yellow. The identity is still there, but it just kind of looks like he's wearing a Prowl costume, which is in a weird way kind of cute. Not gonna lie. It's just weird to see him done up as a police car. It doesn't quite fit. It's odd. It throws my brain off. There's another one that was done out of a Legends toy for Robots in Disguise 2015 that I wanted to point out. We were back to gray Bumblebees. This is from the oh my god, what did they call it? Like Battle of the Transformers. It was like a super generic 2-pack line. This one was packed in with Underbite, if you ever wanted to track this down. And the silver and electric blue works. Like, I'm not going to argue that. It does give him a different vibe than he normally does. They still try to put yellow in there, but the gray is overtaking it. Strangely enough, around this time, the flavor of Bumblebee was gray. Like, when they wanted an alternate color scheme for him, even if it's stealth mode, they didn't really want the old black with yellow detailing. They went grayscale. So, for instance, here is the Stealth Force Bumblebee from Cyberverse. You know, basically those legends that could only half transform. Yeah, and yeah, he's almost all gray here. Now, I don't mind the look of it, and it feels like they wanted the vibe of the Stealth Force Black, while also softening it into something that might be a little bit more toward like a kid's aesthetic. That way it's not just like, because I feel like the jet black figures with those like sharp color pops, I feel like that's more like an adult fan's kind of repaint. So this kind of avoids that, you know? And they did the exact same thing with the one-step changer. And it's, again, marks Stealth Force Bumblebee, so this was just the stealth color for the character at the time. You want the weirder one? You want the weirder one? You look at Rescue Bots Academy. 3 of them. they did that exact same color scheme across 3 of their rescan figures, and they threw them all in the same box set. So you had 3 matching Bumblebees, all with different vehicle modes, all with the same gray color palette. One of the weirder ones I've seen. Like, just the frequency of it is weird. Okay, we're going to end off on 2 of my favorites across all of this research. And they come from Transformers Prime, of all places. One is the Night Shadow Bumblebee, which is again using gold as a secondary color. But look at it. This thing is chaos. You can't call him a yellow Bumblebee. You can't even call him a gold Bumblebee. There's just not enough of it. Like, there's so much black. There's so much gray and light blue. He looks evil. Like, he looks more like Nemesis than any Nemesis I have seen. Any attempt on an evil Bumblebee I have ever seen has not come close to this one, and he's pure Autobot here. And if that wasn't enough, there's even one farther gone. Let me introduce you to Terrorcon Bumblebee. So yeah, you know the whole, like, Terrorcon cliff jumper thing? I guess they thought, fair's fair. So they did a Decepticon version of Bumblebee as if he was also killed and resurrected with Dark Energon. Now, granted, it is again a very rare Bumblebee with no yellow whatsoever. It's just black, purple, sharp blue. It's beautiful is what it is. It looks amazing. But God, I wish it wasn't that mold. I wish it was any other Bumblebee mold from Prime except that one. But it is pretty. You cannot deny that. It is a pretty design. So yeah, that was all I could find in my little my research through. Bumblebee is never going to escape the color yellow, but it's nice to know that every now and then Hasbro does try something different with him. And every now and then, it hits. Every now and then, it looks really good. So, we're going to leave you with that. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite non-yellow Bumblebee? Because I've shown you quite a few of them today. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.